baby. And they
And welcome everybody. We're back from another short break. Hello. It is Wednesday.
Viewers come back.
Welcome everybody, and welcome back, Alex, and once again.
Thank you.
So another Predator film. Another round.
Let's go.
So, but of course, before that, we have news. So let's get right into the news.
I have news. I always feel like when we miss a week, I have like a lot of news. I don't. All right, news. Things we missed. Well, Rizzo. I have three pieces of news, or three sections of news. Section one is things we missed while Rizzo was off on his motorcycle. We missed that Carl Weathers posthumously will be getting a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame on August 29th. It's about damn time. I feel like that probably should have happened when he was alive.
I would have not.
Yeah, 100%.
Assume there was one there already.
Yeah. We missed that the Alien franchise is getting a TV show. Alien Earth will be on Hulu in 2025. It's a
teaser trailer was released today, I believe.
Was it?
Yeah.
It will be set. It's going to be a prequel to Alien. It's going to be set like 30 years before the original. Do we need this? Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. We missed that
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We missed that Tron is getting a third movie. Tron Ares will debut October 10th, 2025. Yes, Jeff Bridges is in it. We missed D23. That's the big Disney Fan Expo, and nothing too massive like Moana 2, Toy Story 5, Frozen 3. Okay, whatever. I mean, stuff. They did drop a Star Wars Skeleton Crew trailer and an Agatha trailer. They showed a Fantastic Four snippet, and there was a Daredevil Born Again snippet and a few other little MCU tidbits. We missed that Last of Us Season 2 has wrapped filming. It's expected to be out in 2025. They haven't given us a date yet, but they did add Jeffrey Wright and Catherine O'Hara, of all people, to the cast. I can see Jeffrey Wright in this really, really easy, but I don't know how I feel about Catherine O'Hara in this. What do you think, Rizzo?
I don't mean to typecast Catherine O'Hara, but in my mind, I'm really only seeing Moira Shit run around.
Yes, that's what I was thinking too. Like, I only know her from comedy, so I don't know. It is what it is. All right, let's move on to more different news. This is news specifically for Sue Hersberg. So, Sue, you better be listening. What's going on at Paramount? Well, they've merged with Skydance and everything's copacetic, right? No, not exactly. There's been a last-minute bid from some guy named Edgar Bronfman, don't know who that is, for $4.3 billion for what Stephen Colbert affectionately calls the CBS Viacom Paramount Pep Boys Auto Parts Entertainment Industrial Complex, which is about accurate for Paramount Global nowadays. Bronfman stepped in last night or 2 nights ago with this $4.3 billion offer, looking to disrupt the merger agreement between Skydance and Paramount that was set to be sealed at 11:59 p.m. tonight. So I don't know what's going to happen. In the meantime, Paramount Global has made a decision to close its Paramount TV studios. Loss of dozens of jobs. It's going to consolidate Paramount and CBS. The studio's current productions will move to CBS Studio. This will not affect, and Sue, this is what you were asking me. This will not affect, at least not immediately, the Paramount Plus streaming platform that Paramount is trying to make sustainably profitable, which it ain't. And because I know you will ask, CBS Studios is behind the majority of scripted shows on the CBS broadcast network and is also the home to the Star Trek franchise on Paramount Plus. Star Trek is safe for the moment, guys. Don't stress about that. And finally tonight, Rizzo, let's discuss this. The Acolyte has been canceled. And Alex, I want to hear your opinion too.
That has not actually been confirmed by Disney. Okay, I did some little bit of research. That was from one article in Variety, I think it was, and there is no corroboration from Disney that it actually has been canceled or not renewed for a second season. It's to be
Let
more
me look real quick. The interwebs is all like absolutely freaking out. Hashtag save the acolyte
Oh God, no.
is in full effect. They think this is because it was canceled because of toxic fandom. What do you think?
I think that's going to be their excuse, and I think that's how Disney's going to spin it. That we got ruined by YouTubers and stuff that whatever were opposed to LGBTQ or whatever. And I think the reality is it was just a badly written show and a badly acted show. It didn't fit the universe of Star Wars. That's my opinion. You may have a different, if you enjoy it, that's fine. But I think the fans have kind of spoken on it, that it didn't do well. And I don't think it fits Star Wars universe. That's my opinion. But like I said, as far as I know, we lost Alex Harris, maybe.
Oh, come back, Alex. So, I just Googled real quick. I got Deadline, Hollywood Reporter, IGN, AV Club, Forbes, The Verge, IndieWire. They picked up that story and ran with it. They're all saying The Acolyte has been canceled. I think The Acolyte has been canceled. I don't know. And now I'm gone too. Am I it? Am I the only one on right now? Is anybody else here? It's the show. Is that what's happening right now? Come back, Alex. Come back, Rizzo. Yeah, I don't know, guys. I don't know. What do you guys out there think? Let me get into the comments and say hello. Bruce is here. Hello, everyone. Rizzo says his internet just glitched. He'll be back as soon as that gets fixed. Bill is here. Dr. Alexander says, greetings, Earthlings. Sue is here. Hi, Robin Beach. How are you? And they're all back. We're all back.
That was really weird.
That was bizarre. That was
weird.
Bizarre.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think the internet liked you talking guff about the Acolyte there, Rizzo.
Well,
I'm going to blame it on that.
Again, I don't know what point I cut out, but it was my opinion. I think a lot of people would agree that it just wasn't a very good show, period. It's nothing to do with, it was slapped together, in my opinion, just by people that had an agenda and that's all they cared about. And they didn't really care about a good story so I think people have spoken as far as the fact that most people didn't like it.
I have to say, I think the opposite. I think most people did like it because if you're not on social media too much, but right now social media, like I said, hashtag save the Acolyte is in full force.
It depends on what the algorithm feeds you. All the stuff I see is just the opposite.
The other stuff I see is like save it.
Well, there's a lot of people but they're blaming the toxic fandom for it. But the fact is that we all know that Disney or whoever would look past that and say, "Oh, well, the numbers are saying something different." They go by strictly how many people watched it. They don't go by YouTubers. They go by how many people watched it. And
Acolyte ranked second in streaming engagement among Star Wars show and Disney.
Anyway, well, we'll see.
So I don't think
why would they cancel it if it was doing so well?
I think it was toxic.
Cancel it? That's my question to all of you. If it was doing that well, why would they cancel it?
Well, like you said, canceling's only a rumor, right? So we still have to find out.
Well, you guys were all disappeared.
Disney has not said. I don't even know where the original claim it was. I think it was an article in Variety, I want to say.
Yeah, guys. Well, you were all glitching out. I Googled it, and a number of places are now reporting it has been canceled. And I haven't seen anything from Disney saying, no, that's not true. So
you take the right, it was just it just wasn't interesting at all.
At least it was from a Sith.
Sorry,
they pitched was for a Sith, and they didn't go with that. I think they should have just gone with the straight Sith story instead of trying to.
I do agree with that. I was excited to see more of a Sith perspective for sure.
I would, and that's fine, but they got to make it 1,000 years prior, not 100, because that doesn't.
Yeah, I agree. With
also,
that.
very true. Yeah.
They've already had video games and I know video games are not canon, but they've already established like Knights of the Old Republic and stuff like that fit all that. That was all back in a time when there was Sith, more of them. And basically the lore is that the Jedis wiped them out. I also don't like this trend that they keep going down where the Jedis were really the bad guys. I mean, again, we're getting away from what the original films portrayed as. They were more noble and not this, oh, we have conflict. And I mean, I know kind of Lucas started that, but again, as a hardcore original fan, it's kind of like, no, they were supposed to be the good guys. That's what they were. They were the Jedis. Everybody liked the Jedi. Sith were bad, Jedi were good. Very black and white. That was what Star Wars always was. Never gray areas. So,
But gray areas are more interesting.
Gray areas are more interesting.
Yeah, but again, even Lucas will tell you this: the original Star Wars, it was meant for kids. It's a kid's story. It was never written for adults.
I mean, so is Divergent, Maze Runner, Hunger Games, and they all explore gray areas. I just feel like the Acolyte was trying to stay on that sort of track.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
It's a
again,
big universe. There's
I
room
think they
for it.
went off the rails with messing with already core canons established, and then I just thought the acting was terrible. I thought the woman that, I don't know if it was the directing or her acting, very wooden delivery in my opinion, just didn't really make me care about any of the characters. The one main character, the guy that was the Korean guy who was in what was the popular Netflix show there?
Manny Jacinto. Yeah, you.
He was in the
Good Place?
game thing.
The Good Place.
Squid Game. Was it Squid? No. What the?
Oh, you mean Squid Games or The Good
Yeah.
Place?
He
The
was in
actual Korean guy or the American Korean guy?
The guy that had to learn English to do this.
The Squid Game. That's Squid Game.
Yeah,
Okay.
he was good. He was good. I thought, so it wasn't all bad.
I thought Manny Jacinto was pretty good. Got
Yeah.
canceled on.
Manny Jacinto's always amazing, for sure.
Yeah, he's pretty good in everything he's in. Yeah, he's pretty good. All right,
Anyway.
Rizzo, what are we drinking tonight as we
I gotta get
go
it
into
back up
the
because I
dirty,
lost-
dirty city of LA?
Hang on a second. There it is.
Ooh, oh, look at that.
Predator's Blood.
Ooh.
Glowy and
Probably
everything.
you might want to sit down after you drink it, or be sitting down when you drink it, because Jägermeister, Bacardi 151, Blue Curacao, pineapple juice, and a Neon Energy drink.
Which is funny that you have to sit while you're drinking it, because in reality, if you see that much Predator blood, that's probably your best chance to run.
Like-
For the amount of alcohol, whenever you see 151 in anything, you know it's going to pack a punch.
Hola, Pablo from Mexico says it was all Carrie Ann Moss's fault.
Yeah, that was the other thing. It was such a
Why
jip.
didn't
I
they
hate to
use
say it.
her?
It was such a jip.
Yeah,
That was
it's
the other
true.
thing that kind of started them down the road of people angry with them. We got
I expected
Carrie Ann Moss
her-
advertised all over the place, and she's
I
in it
gotta
for
let
like
this go.
10
Let's
minutes.
talk about Predator. Okay,
Hey,
Predator
We'll
2.
talk about
Dos.
Predator because that's what
Predator
we'll do.
2.
If y'all want us to do the Acolyte at season 1, maybe we'll do it. But it's
Yeah, we could do it if you guys want. Jaeger, man, that's yeah. Whew, all right.
Not to put public pressure on you, but I would love to join in for Acolyte too.
Uh-huh.
Public pressure usually works.
There's not going to be an Acolyte 2.
Rude. Wow.
All right. Alex, this thing only has like a 30% on Rotten Tomatoes. Please explain to us. Enlighten us. Why the cult following?
The cult following, in my opinion, comes from the amount of lore building that we have in this film. In the first film, we talked about how they come for the heat wave. They don't harm anybody unarmed. But we don't really get anything beyond that in the first film, which is fine because as a first chapter, you don't really need that much to get into it. You just need the little tidbits that we expertly got in the first one. In this one, not only do you get more lore building, especially in the end when he actually finds the ship, but you also get more characteristics from the Predator. I found that the growling and the clicking was much more, it was very different. It was very emotive. It gave the Predator more character while the actor had to carry around the very heavy costume, which we didn't have as much of in the first film. So this one really gives you some solid building blocks as to why the Predators come to Earth, why they do what they do. We see more into their world, which is one point as to why I'm disappointed that after all of these years later, we still don't have a Predator film from the Yautja perspective specifically. It's always from a human's perspective. But for me, I feel like the cult following comes from the lore of the Predator in this one. And we see more of that in AVP. As soon as we got AVP, Predator fans went wild because we got more history from that, which I'm sure we'll talk about next week or something like that. But that's why I feel like we have more of a cult following from this film as opposed to the first one.
Fair enough. I think overall this one it's very, as rewatching, and I only think I saw it. I don't remember if I saw this in the theater or not. 1990, pretty busy year for me. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure I saw it like on VHS. I watched it just today probably for the third time. But overall, I might have seen it twice before.
Yeah, same.
It's really a
Yeah,
very
this was also my third watch.
It's a very 80s movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I did agree. Bruce had posted it too, but I agree with it too. It's kind of like the Lethal Weapon of sci-fi. You know, that's Danny Glover, but he plays almost the exact same character. This is why I'm Murtaugh from Lethal Weapon and stuff. I'm too old for this shit. But
Sheldon would say, too old for this crud.
It has a very similar vibe of those films of the cop films of those era. So yeah, I was trying to figure out where this movie was. I mean, because it was almost like watching it for the first time because I had very little recollection of what transpired. And then
it's the same directors as Andrew just said Lethal Weapon, and it's the same director, I think.
Well, there you go. Same director.
Let me double check that. Let me just triple check that. Keep talking, Rizzo.
Anyway, I guess my point, I don't know, it didn't, I don't think it certainly doesn't hold up. I mean, to today, I guess. I don't know. It really was kind of following the original in the sense that it was another just action movie. Yeah, there's definitely more backstory on the Predators as far as what they're, that they're just hunting. Although I never figured much of a challenge with their invisibility and all their weapons. It was like shooting fish in a barrel. I mean, killing humans. The other thing is I did have an issue with is, so they're in the subway. Bill Paxton's literally unloading into it every round he has, and it doesn't affect him. But Danny Glover comes at him with the shotgun and knocks him on his ass. It's just like, wait a minute. One rifle apparently is more effective than another. There was a continuity, I thought, there that didn't fit.
Well, they don't confirm it, but it's also that the subway is A, moving, and it's a lot of flickering lights as well. It could be that a lot of those bullets, A, missed, or B, hit the armor. That's kind of my theory anyhow.
Yeah, I thought, if I remember, I thought it looked like he was hitting him because he was almost point blank at one time. But anyway, little niggles. Again, it's a film. I don't expect it to be too accurate.
Who produced? Hang on. Sorry, my total bad. It was Joel Silver, the producer, who produced both this movie and Lethal Weapon. My bad, not the director. Sorry. Anyway,
so it stands to reason. It had a very, like I said, even all the films, the cop films of that era, had a very similar feel to it. Seems
it
like
was the 80s.
You always have the same kind of formula. You have the kind of the rough and tumble cop that goes against all the rules. You have his partner who's can always usually be a wise ass sometimes, and then of course you have the news reporter who's always getting in the way and making their life miserable. And now of course then you had Gary Busey in there, and that's like a part of the formula that you have to have Gary Busey in all of these type of films.
Yeah, he was having a moment back then.
Very fun little side note about Gary Busey. I found out that his son later plays on in The Predator. And if we go that far into the franchise, that would make me super happy. But if not, I will state now that Gary Busey's son ends up being the head scientist of the otherworldly unit in the FBI. Like his real life son. But it's my kind of headcanon that is Key's son as well. Because that would just be so fun.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
I always got the impression that Adam Baldwin's character took over from Keyes, since he was like the only one that lived out of that group.
He is the only one that lived, but Keyes was the founder of that, or at least that's the impression that I get from the film, is that Keyes is the founder and Adam Baldwin takes over.
As we go decades later, that a son would take over, and that maybe Baldwin's character is no longer on the scene or has been killed or whatever.
Or whatever.
Very true.
It's odd. I agree with both of you guys. Alex, I agree. There's more lore, but Rizzo. So I was watching it. I felt like I was watching it for the first time. I know I'd seen bits and pieces. I know I'd seen bits and pieces before, but I think this is the first time I saw it in its entirety. I agree with both of you. Like Alex, there was more lore, but Rizzo was so 80s. So I was watching this. I'm like 80s movie, 80s movie, 80s movie until almost just about the end. Then suddenly lore. Oh, hey, look, an alien skull. Lore. Boom. And at the end, I was like, well, no, wait. Now I want to know more. I kind of wish they'd maybe spread it out a little more through the movie, but hey, it is what it is. And it did at least pique my interest. Because then once I saw the Raphael Adolini gun, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess now I can go watch Prey and get that fit into the lore. You know what I mean? Which, by the way, that gun at the time in 1980s, 90, whenever they were making this movie, was based on a comic that was out at the time, and the story and the story in Prey are really quite different. So, whichever one you take as canon, I guess we'll have to take the films as canon. So, whatever.
That is fair, and I do agree. Like, even beyond it being very 80s, my main complaint about Predator 2 has always been there's too much human BS. And just like you said, Mary Beth, like all the lore dump is right at the end of the movie. Like the last 15 minutes are the most interesting or the most intricate, and you see that like in the whole franchise, except for Predators, that's pretty much all the lore that you kind of get of this universe in film anyways. The comics and video games are so much more immersive in that kind of world. But yeah, as far as the movies go, that 15-minute info dump is the best that we kind of get.
It's awesome. It's like, oh, we're in the ship. Oh, look, a trophy display case.
And did you notice in the trophy display case, they have a T-Rex head?
Do you guys? Is there a way to share?
Yeah,
screen?
I mean,
I have that trophy case picture.
They do make a point at the very end that they've been coming to Earth for a very long time, because he hands them the flintlock, which said 1775 on it. So you know that was the indicator that they've been doing this for, when man was still crawling around in caves or earlier. Apparently, the T-Rex thing, that's going back millions of years. So you kind of wonder how long. What's these people's development that they're still a million years later hunting
things.
Their culture has not evolved in millions of years.
If I hit present, will it share screen?
Yeah.
Let's find out. Let's just find out.
While you're doing that, I just want to say, like, how funny would it be to think of like an elder predator who was there in the T-Rex hunting days, who is just now coming to Earth and seeing humans and being like, guys, why is the prey so tiny? Like, what happened?
Can you guys see that?
No, I have to add it. That's what.
Oh, go ahead and add it. It's all the skulls. It's the case.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a T-Rex.
It's got a few extra knobs on it.
That almost looks like an alien. These all look like alien.
Well, there's three.
They got certainly a human, and the rest of them. There's a couple of human. The rest of them don't look anything terrestrial.
When the camera moves more to its side, that big skull that we can see on the left does look more like the side of a T-Rex. Like, I agree with you. You're right. There's a couple of extra knobs and stuff on the head. So probably not an Earth T-Rex, but I don't know. The idea is still very fun for me.
Well, I agree. I think it's great that they added that in there and shows that they keep. Of course, they have always established that they keep trophies. Even from the first movies, that they keep trophies of their kills. And obviously, he gave him the flintlock as kind of a saying, like, you earned this because you were the winner of this contest. You notice they didn't come in and kill him, what he thought they were going to do. They were like, they're dead away, and said, you win, we're out of here. Maybe they'll rethink something. I doubt it.
If we've had our full of these cool alien skulls, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing, and we should be back to normal now. Yeah. So people were arguing back and forth what they were.
I got the impression that they're more. They obviously do this in other worlds than just Earth.
And it's like the Raphael Adolini gun, that alien xenomorph skull was thrown in because of the comic that was being published at the time.
It looked like there was a xenomorph skull in there. Yeah.
Sadly, we wouldn't get Alien versus Predator until 2004.
Was it that late?
It's something like that. 2003, 2004.
I thought it was late 90s, but okay.
No, it's 2004, which that's a long wait because this thing came out in 90, right?
1990. Yeah,
1990. So there was a long gap there.
it was 14 years. So that must have been
Wasn't the
2004
Alien
then.
film either, because when did Alien 3 come out? I don't know what year that was, but probably around that time. And then there was the next one was what, Alien Resurrection, right? With
Yeah, something
along with
like that.
Winona
Which there
Ryder.
was also quite a break, wasn't there, for those
Yeah.
ones?
Well, yeah, it was quite a bit of a gap. So
Which, thank God, we did get that xenomorph skull in there because that's what sparked the interest of AVP.
Right.
And had we not had that skull, this movie took a $40 million flop compared to the first film, which ended the franchise. They were not going to make another Predator. But because of the comic and because of seeing the skull in the film, making it more accessible to those that aren't necessarily reading the comics or playing the video games, we finally got AVP. I'm so excited to talk about AVP. It's so hard to keep talking about Predators.
Bill says Alien 3 was 1992.
AVP. Yeah, Alien 3 1992, AVP 2004. I will be very curious.
Alien 3, I don't know, it didn't kill the franchise, but it definitely threw a bucket of water on it because I think Alien and Aliens were so good, and then we hit 3 and it was not good.
No.
And then it was a long run because then what was the next thing we really got was, well, we got AVP, but then Prometheus really in that.
Yeah.
If
But you know
wanna
what, guys,
consider-
I didn't love
No, I
Prometheus.
take it back. We didn't Prometheus.
No, same.
Resurrection was before Prometheus.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Yeah, Resurrection, then Prometheus, then
Resurrection wasn't good.
Covenant.
either.
Romulus,
No, Covenant.
Covenant, then Romulus. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
I
the
stopped
soon to
watching
be
that.
television show that I was just talking about in the news segment. So.
I did go see Prometheus because it looked interesting and Ridley Scott was directing, and yeah,
Yeah.
Bill Stotek is saying only 2 real alien movies. Yeah, Bill, I think we might agree with you. And Bruce was trying to go get ice cream. I don't know, Bruce, what was going on with that?
false alarm.
Also,
Who's trying to move? What?
Now, Bruce, I don't want to spoil this for you, but there are no Romulans in Alien Romulus.
No spoilers for Bruce. I'm taking him to see Romulus tomorrow.
No, there are no Romulans in that movie, so you know.
Yeah, it's not
Anyway,
Star Trek.
let's get back to Predator. Amazing cast. I really actually enjoyed this cast. They were a really interesting mix of people. The choice of Danny Glover as our lead. Hey, can I just give this movie props? I was mad at it for still being misogynistic, but it was a product of its time. But let's give it props. Black lead and his 2 supporting people, Latino. Excellent. I'm gonna give it props for
Yeah,
that.
I know. Yeah, it definitely was a product of its time. I didn't see it. It didn't seem horribly misogynistic. I mean, you had the one female cop that was
There were a couple
pretty
things.
strong
Yeah.
character.
There were a couple of comments. Yeah.
There are a couple little
Well,
things.
yeah, I mean,
It's
again,
my name.
you got to
It's my
remember,
name.
it was 34
Yeah.
years ago. I mean, we have, times have changed.
But speaking of the diverse cast, I find it very interesting because this movie caught some heat when it came out because the design of the Predator had changed and they added more of a quote unquote urban look, which included some tribal markings known from African American tribes. And this movie had caught some heat for subliminally messaging to their viewers to be wary of African American males. So I thought it kind of interesting once I found that out that there is a person of color as the lead character to kind of throw off that kind of picking. So I really do enjoy the fact that we got Danny Glover to avoid that kind of thing.
Concern to the studio that if they put a black man as their lead, that it would limit their profitability in other countries. So, I mean, again, 34 years.
Again, product of its time.
Yeah.
So,
Product of its time. Robin Beach, will there be an alien Remus? I know, right? Remus and Romulus. That's awesome. So we could kind of zing since we mentioned. Let's zing through our cast. Danny Glover cast against type. The man was coming off of some interesting things, none of which were action. And then before you say, yeah, he did Lethal Weapon, look at the character he played. Mel Gibson got to be the crazy angry cop.
Yep.
And Danny Glover had to be the sensible family guy whose daughter did condom commercials. But other than that, he wasn't the angry cop. He was just, but why was he angry? Why was he the angry cop in this movie? Why? Was there a reason? Do we know why?
well, I guess he was kind of fighting the gang war thing, between the I guess they were like Jamaicans, the Blue Voodoo guy that he has to go, and then there was, I guess, like a cartel. So he was involved in that, and they were having. Remember, the movie starts with a shootout in the street of those two factions, and the cops are kind of stuck in the middle of it. And so I think that's where his just the wanton destruction and death that they were wreaking on the city. And I think then all of a sudden there's this, as I said, there's this third party kind of coming in, or fourth party killing him. They didn't at the first, he doesn't think, he thinks it's another drug group or somebody that's going in killing, not realizing that at that time that it's, just one alien guy.
Actually, that's a fantastic point. In this film, there are so many more people that die before they realize that there's kind of a mystery date, shall we call the predator?
Conveniently made the Jamaicans have the same hang 'em upside down thing as the alien, just to kind of muddy the waters,
I just really enjoy the commentary from the first film being in an actual jungle, and it takes 4, maybe 5 people to die before they realize, okay, there's something else here. But then we get into the second Predator, and a very cheeky opening showing the jungle until it pans far up enough that you actually see the city limits of LA. And you realize it's not in the jungle, it's in the concrete jungle where humans feel safer. And yet the body count had to be so much higher before they realized that there was an unknown element. I thought that, I don't know if that was intentional, but in the world that we live in today, I think that's extremely interesting commentary. I really enjoyed that comparison.
Los Angeles was having some gang issues in that era.
Yeah.
That was foremost
really portrayed Los Angeles, particularly in the 80s and early 90s, as a very bad place. And I don't know how true it was, having never lived there or really visited there.
It's funny that you say that, because
worse than it was. But maybe
I'm sure it was portrayed worse, but they did say that when they were clearing out one of the alleyways to film in, they actually discovered a dead body and had to call the police to come and pick it up and identify it and all that. So they say it's not actually portrayed too much worse than it actually was.
LA was having a moment. It's better now.
Bill's asking if it's real sci-fi.
This thing?
Yeah.
This thing borders on horror. There's a couple of.
This is starting to become its own genre of it's horror / sci-fi / action movie.
It is its own. Yeah, you're right. It's its own genre. Do you feel safer in LA? LA's now, Bill, or then? I think now. I'd go to LA now. I wouldn't have an issue.
Depends on anything else, just like New York or any place in Boston. There's certain places I wouldn't.
That's true. That's true.
Chicago, all the cities have bad areas. Detroit as a whole,
very much so. Even Canadians know about that one.
Yeah, I don't go to Detroit.
Back to our.
I think it's just if you stay near the LA is it's not a very clean city. From of course, the pollution is very bad there because of the amount of people who live there. But like anything, I'm sure there's nice sections, and there's probably horrible sections that you do not want to set foot in.
That's true. And actually, this movie was originally slated to be set in New York. It was just that by the time they got around to filming, it was wintertime, and they had to pass it off as if there was a heat wave, which is a lot harder to do in New York in the winter months than it is to do in LA.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think it was probably cheaper to shoot in LA.
It was. That was the second point.
Yeah. Oh, hi, Chris. Chris is writing a whole.
Oh, Chris got a novel there. Got to take a minute.
Chris has a novel going on. What's going on, Chris? Yeah, Bill was talking about his daughter seeing the tent cities. Yeah, they're everywhere has its places, but LA's doing okay. They've beaten back the smog because it was a thing. If you remember, the 1980 Olympics were in LA, and it was a thing.
Oh, I remember flying into LA. As you come over the mountain from the desert, you could see the layer of smog. You could physically see it as
what a shame. They've got the most beautiful weather in the country, and the most beautiful. They've got the ocean.
It's also probably one of the most congested areas of the country. Period. I mean, it just goes on and on, and it's just a sea of
All right, moving on. Back to our cast. We once again have Kevin Peter Hall as our Predator. For some of the scenes, the scene where after his arm gets lopped off, they did find a stuntman who had lost his arm to play that. In real life, had lost his arm to play that. Gary Busey, we talked about him. He's a weird one, that guy, but okay. His character was going to be Arnold Schwarzenegger's character. It wasn't going to be Dutch. They were going to have Arnold play this character. I guess it was going to be Dutch coming in as this expert who, could lead the special task force. And when Arnold declined, because he wanted to go do Terminator 2, I believe.
Good choices. Good
Yeah,
choices.
that was necessary to do. Terminator 2 was, much better film.
Yeah. They got Gary and they kind of tweaked the role a little bit, changed it up just a little bit. Ruben Blades, I guess, as Danny. Maria Conchita Alonso, who we last saw with Arnold in Running Man.
Again, she was kind of another staple of that era in a lot.
She was around, yeah.
A lot of stuff, yeah.
She was around. Bill Paxton, yay, Bill Paxton.
Who I just would love to say, my headcanon is that Bill Paxton is the one who started the cinematic multiverse, what with his many roles in the genre.
Yeah, that's what. If you guys are wondering what my thingy, Bill Paxton triumvirate, it's because Bill Paxton's the only one to have been killed by the Terminator, the Predator, and the alien, the Xeno. I believe he is the only human killed by all three of those.
So I guess in Aliens, when he said "Game over, man" 3 times in a row, it was more foreshadowing than we originally thought.
I love Bill. I love Bill and everything he does.
Bill's great in everything he does.
The best.
So much, yeah. The last time we had Rizzo up here, actually, we were watching Aliens, and one of the rules was drink every time Bill Paxton's on screen because he's just fabulous.
Just constantly. We should probably get another this one too.
I still think one of my favorite characters of him is from the Schwarzenegger one, where he
Terminator?
the when he's playing the CIA agent, True Lies. And he's Bill Paxton is pretending to be like a spy to try to get the wife in bed. Of course, he's all bullshit. He's just lying. But that whole scene where he's out by the dam is hysterical.
My favorite role of Bill Paxton will always be Twister, which, by the way, just a quick side note, if anybody has yet to go see Twisters in theaters, go do it. It's not disappointing. The lead male role who plays in Twisters was actually a student of sorts of Bill Paxton's for quite a while. And I feel like he really...
Top Gun sequel, Maverick. He's in Maverick, too.
Yeah. He really carried the spirit of the original film, I found. I thought it was incredible. So if you are a fan of Twister and you haven't seen Twisters, go see it.
I want to see that.
Do it.
Moving on with the cast, we have Adam Baldwin, who we all discussed before the show started. We know him best as Jane from Firefly. He pops up here, there, and everywhere. In Pilgrim, you guys know Kent. You just don't know that you know him. He plays Ben Browder's dad in Farscape. And
of course. That goes all the way back to Adam 12.
Oh, yeah, Adam 12. He's around.
I mean, that's where those of us that are really old, know him originally from Adam 12. And he always plays the quintessential good cop.
Yeah, he does.
He's that perfect guy to play that
nice
guy. In of course in Farscape he plays an astronaut, a retired astronaut. So it's kind of funny that he just, again, it's funny how people become sort of typecast, but he seems to kind of pop his head up every once in a while. What was he in recently? He was in something relatively recent. I just saw something very modern.
He's getting up there. He's
does a voiceover in Starfield. Yeah, maybe just Farscape.
You think about it for a second. I'll keep going. Steve Kahn,
2005, I guess. Yeah, not much. Take it back.
Morton Downey Jr. was Tony Pope, the crazy reporter guy.
Now he had his own talk show, didn't he? Yeah, back in around that era.
Yeah,
he pretty much plays himself.
He pretty much plays himself. He was pretty obnoxious.
Yeah, he was obnoxious, kind of a very that kind of shock talk show kind of thing, if I remember.
Yeah, shock jock, kind of like the television version of Howard Stern type of situation.
Yeah.
Or Who's You Are the Father? Who's that guy? That kind of stuff. Anyway.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. I can't think of it.
Nobody else is popping out at me too much on this cast list. I will say that technically they did give a credit to Elpidia Carrillo as Anna Gonzalez. She was from the first movie, but she never ended up. It was just she was gonna have a cameo, but they ended up putting it like you see her on the screen. They're watching something and you see her. I wish they would have actually given it to her, but.
Well, not that the actress comes back to the role, but the character herself gets spoken about quite a bit in The Predator. The Predator.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll be able to get to that movie.
Oh, and I did forget to say that at the end of the movie, when you see a number of predators, I saw in 2 different places, but no one could say anybody's names. Supposedly, they're like, okay, we need some tall people. Well, there's the Lakers. So apparently a couple of them might be Lakers, but no one will say their names. If anybody knows which Lakers played Predators.
I had heard that Danny Glover was the one who got the Lakers to come and play the pack of Predators.
Did you, if you guys go on YouTube and just type in like Predators dancing or something, you'll see them doing like this whole dance routine. Like they got the fog going. They're on that set, the ship set.
The spaceship set, yeah.
Yeah. And they're like doing this whole dance. It's hilarious.
Like long before Jensen Ackles does the outtake of playing the leg guitar to Eye of the Tiger in Supernatural, we had Danny Glover making all the Predators dance on the spaceship after filming stopped.
It was pretty funny.
It is now on YouTube as a full music video, from what I'm told. I didn't have a chance to actually go and watch it in its entirety, but I'm told it's been edited into a music video. And speaking of which, I do have a note here, which somebody had made an album based on Predators. Give me a second, I'll find the note.
Okay. I am Googling how the Lakers wound up being, I'm still trying to find their names. I still don't know which Lakers, but all right.
So interesting fact, the Jamaican gang people were not actors. They were actually bouncers and stuff from local He-Want Authentic. And actually they were based on real gang from New York and Kansas, of all places. In the late 1980s, apparently there was Jamaican gangs
in Kansas.
In Kansas.
Oh,
and New York. Not LA.
In Kansas.
Nothing better to do.
If you're an island country and you want to be in a gang, I'm sure Kansas is the first place that springs to mind.
First place.
Yeah, that's what I'm reading Kansas City. Okay,
So I did find it. Rapper Ice Cube, formerly of the groundbreaking hip-hop collective NWA, named his third solo album and its title track, The Predator, an homage to the Predator movies. The album contains a number of audio samples from Predator 2, including dialogue from the Jamaican gang leaders and Gary Busey's line, "They indicated that when Trap the Creature activated a self-destruct device that destroys enough rainforest to cover 300 city blocks."
Yeah, see, I call that as an inconsistency, because clearly what Arnold ran away from and what we saw from the helicopter near 300 city blocks.
We talked about this last time.
Yeah.
I had issues with that part.
Yeah.
This wasn't that big of an explosion.
No, it wasn't. You're right.
But, suspension of disbelief.
Actually, speaking of suspension of disbelief, there were 2 moments that kind of pulled me out that didn't really go with the lore of Predator. In the sort of opening, the first time we see the Predator, Danny Glover not only has a gun, but it's pointed at the Predator. He's obviously aiming to hurt the Predator, and he does nothing but run away. How does that make sense to what we know of the Predator?
Wait, walk me through that again. Which scene is this?
In the beginning, when Danny Glover kills El Scorpio, or rather El Scorpio goes to kill himself, the Predator is there to kill El Scorpio, but then Danny Glover beats him to the punch. And then Danny sees the sort of shadow of the camouflage, and he aims his gun right at him, ready to kill him. And instead of killing Danny Glover like he could easily do, he just runs away.
Were there any other cops coming at that time?
Well, I think
no.
maybe he was, because remember he kind of targeted Danny Glover's character right from the get-go when he saw him do the bit with the car to save the cop. So I suspect that he said, okay, here is the guy that I want to challenge.
Play with?
By, in other words, he's the guy that I'm going to go up against. And I think if he killed him right then and there, I think maybe he thought this is too easy.
It's not sporty because they have that whole
kind of a thing.
honorable thing.
Yeah, it wasn't honorable to him, or wasn't enough of a challenge, or whatever. So that's what I would get, because he clearly, he kind of looks at what he's doing from above with the car and how he saved the motor cop that was in the middle of the gunfight. And he kind of, like, you could tell he was paying attention, like, oh, this guy's somebody to be watched and reckoned with. Like, he's got, he's the guy I'm looking for. He's the lion.
I think Rizzo's correct, because that was the gist of the 1980 whatever Raphael Adolini comic book. The Predator was watching, because Raphael Adolini was a ship's captain and his crew mutinied against him, and he was fighting with his own crew. And the Predator was watching all of this, and I think the Predator was watching to see who's the strongest among the men. I'm going to fight him. And he ended up choosing, Raphael's winning against his entire crew, so he chooses Raphael. I don't remember that. Does anybody have that comic? Can tell me the plot of it? And then what happens? One of the crew, they're getting ready to square off. Raphael Adolini and the Predator get ready to square off. One of the crew is almost dead, but he kind of lifts his head up and shoots Adolini in the back. And then Adolini hands the gun to the Predator and says, "Take it." That's what happens in the comic book. I haven't seen Prey yet, so I don't know.
Interesting.
So yeah, anyway, all of that is just to say Rizzo's right. The Predator wants to fight the strongest one. So I think he was still in assessment mode. So he was still looking at Danny going, is this the one? Is this the one I want to fight? Is this the leader of all these crazy ones running around here?
The other thing is he killed like his partner there, the guy that was crawling up in the ceiling to get the little trident thing.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He killed him without really, the guy just it was almost like a sneak attack. Like the guy was just looking for the thing, and then all of a sudden he was up in the ceiling, he's like, bam, he grabs him, and then the blood comes down. And
yeah,
well, maybe that's part of it.
He just kills him without really, because the guy didn't even know he was there until he
went on a good little killing spree on the subway. Yeah, you're right. His killing wasn't maybe as consistent as
the subway. He was kind of going, there was the gang guys, and then you had the cops, and
everyone
was armed. Everyone had a weapon.
Weren't armed, and of course, clearly they doubled down on the we're not going to harm, because when he grabs Maria Conchita there and he sees that she's pregnant, he lets her go.
Yeah. So, and he didn't hurt the kid in the cemetery, and he didn't hurt the old lady with the broom.
He realized he assessed it and realized it was fake.
And the partner, I feel like he killed the partner because the partner was about to get the spearhead, which eventually would track them to the Predators. Or at least that would be my thinking of it, is this guy can't get my weapon. I can't let that happen. They're not supposed to know that we're here, that we come here. So that's why I feel like he picked him up. And then as he's picking him up, he's like, the human is holding the spearhead, and the Predator doesn't do anything until the human then lifts his gun. And as soon as he lifts his gun, that's when he wastes him.
Maybe. Yeah, that could be.
And with the kid, actually, what I found really funny and probably inappropriate is that the kid thinks that the Predator is Ghost and goes up to him and goes, "Want a piece of candy?" And isn't it funny that the Predator, given its name, the one line that he learns as the Predator is "Want some candy?"
Well, I think there's a juxtaposition there where the human Predator would say that to the child, "Do you want some candies?" to try to entice them into their windowless van.
Yeah, I was curious to see if he used those words on an unsuspected female or something, but I guess this movie, in the first movie we thought the Predator was just mimicking human sounds, but this movie establishes they kind of get the gist of what they mean. I think it understands English more than we know.
Probably. You would think if they've been coming here, for decades,
a couple hundred years,
they would have picked up enough language to know what was going on.
Yeah.
But I always thought was funny at the end of the thing, and the ship comes blasting out of the tunnel or wherever it was, and nobody noticed this. Giant ship that left a huge trail of burning thing, and nobody apparently noticed that this thing.
How bad was LA?
Well, see, this is kind of where the Men in Black come in and clean up,
Yeah.
as they do. That's my explanation.
Flashy, so flashy thing.
Oh, that's funny.
True. I guess it was just what was a swamp gas and
Yeah, exactly.
It was
And
a
then
gas
flashy
leak.
thing.
It's fine.
gas and a weather balloon.
All right. So what else? So they looked at Peter. What the hell is Sagal's first name? What's
Wow.
Sagal's first name? They looked at Swayze and
Steven Seagal.
thank you, Steven
Yeah.
Seagal. For the
I'm
lead.
so glad we went with Danny Glover. Like, what a better choice.
Yeah, I mean,
And like I said, it's
Seagal
casting.
can't act his way out of a bag.
Yeah,
Just terrible. I mean, some of his movies have some entertainment value, but for the most part, they're not good.
So yeah, and like I said, I already mentioned this, but Danny was cast against type. He was coming off movies like Places of the Heart, Mandela Witness, The Color Purple, etc., etc.
His best movie is still Silverado.
Okay.
I'm just saying, people argue with me.
Did Color Purple?
Silverado was the best Western ever made, in my opinion.
Okay. If you
And
say so.
he was a great character in that movie.
This movie, was its creative simplicity genius or a disservice to it?
I kind of think this movie's geniusness is fun in the way that it's filmed, because they were trying. So when this movie was first released, it was 2 weeks after they had come up with the rating of NC-17.
Yeah, they cut some gore out of this thing, didn't they?
They cut a lot of gore out of it, yeah. Long before Deadpool and Wolverine proved how amazing R-rated movies can do and be, they did quite creative choices to elicit horror in their viewers, as well as staying away from the gore. One of my favorite shots of this entire film was when the Predator kills the Voodoo King. The Voodoo King sees the Predator, starts, like, the camera zooms up as he's screaming, and it stays on his face, and by the time it pans back away, the head is already completely off of the body and in the Predator's hand, and the face is just frozen in that expression.
Yeah.
There's no blood, there's no guts, there's no gore, but what a horrific kind of moment of shock of, like, okay, so he's just seen the Predator. No, now his head is in the Predator's hand. Like that in an instant. It was very shocking. And I'm sure back then it was even more shocking because we didn't have a lot of shots done quite like that. And this is the starting. It's not this film that does the whole subway flickery lights thing, but it is in this era that starts becoming more popular, because you can get away with more things that are happening. There's so much death happening on that subway, but because of the flickering lights and whatnot, you don't actually see the gore, so you can up the body count without risking that NC-17 rating. There was one other shot that they did that was fantastic. The drug war in the beginning there, they don't show any of the guts going. They show a little bit of blood, not too much. They had a bunch of things blow up so that it would cover the damage that was happening and the body count that we actually had. So there were a lot of techniques in this film to elicit horror without upping the rating, and I thought that was brilliant.
And I find that when filmmakers do that, to me that shows that there's another level, that they're more in tune to. You don't need to see it.
Less is more.
What's going on. I mean, Spielberg showed us that with Jaws for the most part. He created a tremendous amount of terror without actually ever seeing the damn thing.
I mean, keep it in the universe. Alien does that with the Xenomorph.
Alien does that with the Xenomorph. There's actually not a lot of scenes where you see them ripping anybody apart. It's just
very true.
That you know what's coming, or you know what just happened.
Yeah.
So,
a couple of the things this movie did right. They brought Alan Silvestri back again to do the score. The score is fantastic. It's actually an excellent action score.
It is very much so.
It's a great score. And actually, I saw an interview with Zimmerman and another conductor named Henry Jackman, who's done a bunch of stuff like Kong Skull Island, X-Men First Class, Captain America Civil War. They were just geeking out over this score. They called it the best action score ever. I don't know if I'd go that far, but it's a very good score. The other thing they did pretty good were some of the effects, not all, but some of the effects. The effects of the alien walking in the water with the water like splashing a little bit with each invisible step was actually quite good.
Yeah,
That still looked
very
kind of
true.
cool.
You know,
On the other hand,
and then they just added the
yeah. On the other hand, Gary Busey he gets sliced.
it gets sliced in
He
half.
flicks this thing. It goes through all the cattle carcasses and ostensibly Gary Busey, and you see his bottom half drop.
But not the other half.
You don't know what the other half
Hang
is.
on, what's going on?
Hang on.
The other half is what would have caused the NC-17 rating. That's just my
Probably, yeah, probably some guts or whatever. Yeah. The other thing they did that I absolutely noticed, and I don't notice anything, and if I could see this, anyone will see this. When they were mapping out the Predator to do the invisible effect, they did not map out his dreads.
No.
And you see it, like you see his head shape and then his shoulders, and it's not the right shape. It is not the right shape at all.
It's
You
not.
have those dreads. It just
And the shoulders are slimmer too in the camouflage effects than when he's fully visible.
Again,
I noticed that it's
yeah.
blatant because I don't notice
I'm
anything.
pretty sure those were all film effects. They were not CGI.
No.
They were
This
film
was
effects, so, you know, you
1990.
gotta give again. This CGI hadn't really come into full
Like
fruition
baby
until
CGI.
Jurassic Park was what, a couple years later.
Yeah.
We really saw the first really what CGI can do. We had you know Last Starfighter and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
comparatively. So they're all going off about half of Gary Busey. He's
Oh,
decided
sorry,
to
guys.
be half of what he used to be.
They can explain it to me how it was.
No, they're just saying they're just making puns.
Gary was beside
They're being
himself.
punny.
Yes, Chris. Gary was beside himself. He's has to
Also,
be.
like like you were talking about the Predator effect in the water with the electricity and the lightning. What I found very random was the King Kong call out in the middle of the movie when Buddy gets the Predator gets Bill Paxton and he's got his head and skeleton and he goes up to the whatever building that is for LA and he does the big yell and the scream and the lightning strikes him and nothing comes of that. First of all, Jerry, whatever his name, Bill Paxton's character was not the token prey of this. So I don't understand the victory yell at that point. And the lightning strike doesn't make sense to me because nothing came of that. The Predator didn't seem to be hurt by it. He didn't seem to be energized by it. Like nothing came of that.
The idea of that scene came right out of the when they were going to shoot it in New York, and that was supposed to be the top of the Chrysler building. So
that's kind of what I figured with the shape of it. Yeah.
Well, again, in King Kong, it was the Empire State, but you know, I think that was definitely what the effect that the feel that they were trying to go for, and I think they just shoehorned it in because they thought it was a cool scene. I firmly believe there was no point to it other than the fact that this is a cool scene. He's at the top of this building. He's got the skull and whatever in his hand, and the lightning strikes, and it's it's just I think it's just it's a cool scene. But you're right, it didn't fit the rest of the story because Bill was never the guy he was always after. And
yeah,
clearly,
so like what victory are you screaming about?
Unloaded his gun at him, and he didn't either he missed or it didn't go through the armor.
Alex, you're absolutely right. That was a missed opportunity.
That scene really pulled me out of the film just for the fact that we got nothing out of that. Like if you just want to do the rebel yell, like okay, I guess, but getting struck by lightning and nothing coming of that, like it would have been really cool to see if that like screwed up his technology and that's why Danny Glover got his like lucky shot in or something, but that's not how that transpired. So I just kind of was sitting there for a solid 5 minutes like, guys, what is happening?
Payoff and there was no payoff.
This is how my silly brain works is after Danny cuts his arm off after he's trying to assume he's trying to set the self-destruct. So now there's like some kind of bomb that's laying out in an alley somewhere that somebody's gonna find.
Full Predator arm. Actually,
the arm just fell. We never know what happened to the hand.
You haven't seen the rest of the franchise. You don't know that.
Oh, okay. Well, then I have not.
So that and the gun, we got to keep track of those things.
Yeah. So, well, it is 8:00. So, you know how I like to keep things on time.
We are on time.
That is.
Roy is doing Starman. which
which
we've already done.
We've already done. So if you want to
You
see
do
our
it.
version of it, go back to February. I think it was around Valentine's Day we did
Yeah,
it.
we kind of did it recently, sort of.
It was like
Phil-
Valentine's Day. I think we did it for Valentine's Day.
Yeah. Yes,
So-
yes, we did. Phil is going to be talking about a hip hop event at the Long Island Music and Entertainment Hall of Fame, and also he's going to be talking about an upcoming prog rock festival in New Jersey that is coming. So all of that you can look forward to on Captain Phil's Planet on WUSB Stony Brook. What are we doing? So what are we doing? What
I don't know.
What
I
is
feel
next
like-
in our
I feel like
Predator
we need a little
exploration?
break from Predator
But we're right in the
because-
thick of it.
Fine.
because I don't want to burn our studio audience out from.
Our
Our
five
genre.
viewers.
So I don't know what we're going to do. But please, if you guys have suggestions, we always like suggestions because we want to do things that you want us to do.
I will just remind everybody that Mary Beth and I are waiting to do AVP. I'm just saying.
We're waiting to do what?
AVP.
Oh, AVP,
We'll,
yes.
we'll get there.
I mean, now that I've seen the gun and I've heard the name Raphael Adelini, now I may need to do Prey next. Possibly.
So we'll do them both. That sounds like a great plan.
we can split.
That's Robin keeps seeing AVP, but yeah, I know.
Yeah, Robin wants
I
AVP.
know where she's coming from. So, but we'll see.
You can't
we'll
count
do
us
it.
as
I'm
one
not gonna
vote.
say
We're
not
two different
gonna do
people.
it. I just want to maybe mix a little other things in there.
Well, if we did AVP, we'd be mixing aliens into the mix. See
Alien
how
in
that
there.
works?
Yeah, that is true.
Well, maybe we should do more. Maybe we should do Alien 3 so that we can catch up timeline wise.
Why? Ew.
Alien
it's
3
not
was
a
not
good
one of the
It's
stronger,
not really
if I
worth
remember
doing.
correctly.
It's not really worth doing.
I'm not watching that movie
Really
again.
stronger
Sorry,
alien.
it's not happening.
It's the last week. Well, it's not the week. Last weekend, last Wednesday of summer. That's dumb. It's the last Wednesday of August. So let's choose wisely, because then we'll be in September,
That is true.
and
Yeah.
then we'll be in October, which is the good
So what,
month.
we got to do all pumpkin spice movies coming up now.
Hmm?
We got to do pumpkin spice movies starting.
Yes,
in
we do all
September.
pumpkin spice now.
All pumpkin spice movies.
Pumpkin
Be careful
spice.
what you wish for. Hallmark
Spice.
legitimately has a pumpkin thing.
Pumpkin spice horror, pumpkin spice ghosts, pumpkin spice aliens.
Everything's pumpkin spice this time of year.
I mean, you could do the Headless Horseman for that.
We did. I believe we did.
We
Headless
did
Horseman.
the one with Johnny Depp there, Sleepy Hollow.
Yeah, we.
That is, I actually really like that movie. I like
Yeah, it's
Johnny
a good
Depp in that movie. I like Christina Ricci in that movie.
Maybe we
Yeah.
need to do. Do we already do vampire? The Dracula one. The same crowd.
Which Dracula one?
That
The
crowd.
one with Keanu Reeves and
The one
and-
with Keanu Reeves. Yeah.
oh, that's and you know who plays Dracula is my guy there is
Gary Oldman, isn't it?
Gary
Gary-
Oldman. Yeah,
Yeah.
Gary Oldman plays Dracula.
Might this Halloween we might need to do that.
That's an old movie. That was 90s, wasn't it?
That was, and also
This is
Dracula
waiting for
Untold.
Pandora.
Yeah, well, we could probably do that was Bram Stoker's Dracula. If I remember the title.
Robin, we have not done Sunshine. I've mentioned it many times. We've not done it.
Which one? What now?
Sunshine. It's the one with I can see his face. He's the one that's like, oh, get a room. Is there air? You don't know. Somebody might kill Guy. It's Guy.
Oh, that's right,
It's
yeah.
Guy's name, Norman
Is that a
Rockwell.
comedy?
Sam.
I'm not familiar with it. Is that a comedy, Sunshine? I don't.
No. It's heavy drama.
Well, usually when that guy's in it, it's funny.
No, not Cillian Murphy. What's the one with Sam Rockwell?
Sam Rockwell.
I don't
You
know.
have my attention.
We'll save these. These are good October ones.
Yeah, this is October. I want to do Signs.
Ooh,
Oh, Moon.
yes, good one.
Sorry, not Sunshine. I kept mentally pair these movies. I don't know why. Sunshine and Moon. I pair them all the time. Sam Rockwell is in Moon.
Okay.
Cillian Murphy and those guys.
Okay. Well, we'll come up with something for next week. I don't know what, but we'll figure something out as we always do. On that note, it is 8:04, so I'd like to wrap things up. Thanks, Alex, again for joining us, and of course, Mary Beth. And
Absolutely.
we
Thank
will
you for
get to
having me.
AVP at some point. Don't fret. We'll get to it. I just don't want everybody to have Predator burnout.
Is there such a thing?
I mean, there's a thing. It's a thing. So,
Okay.
all right, guys. On that note, I will say good night. Live long and prosper, and all.
Night.
May the force be with you. I get it out. Good night, folks. See you next time.